Welcome to Scary Hours. Shout out to my returning horror fans, and if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that bell before you go, so you know when I drop a new video. It's now officially the spooky season, my people, and I'm here to guide you through your October horror experience. Tonight, we resurrect 8 cult classics that flew under the radar, buried under the blockbusters. So, prepare for forgotten scares and twisted storytelling. Let's dive in. First, Leatherface, a 1990 horror film directed by Jeff Burr, starring Kate Hodge, Williams Butler, and Viggo Mortensen. Driving through Texas on a road trip, a California couple and a survivalist encounter Leatherface and his family. So I was about 8 years old when my mom took me to see this at the theater, and that was cool, because even though it's a horror flick, it wasn't overly gory or even truly scary, to tell you the truth. But this was my introduction to Leatherface. Always heard of him, but didn't see the first one till after this. And this had a violent tone, but not much blood and gore. Most of the violence happened off screen. Some people might know that it went through many reshoots and editing in order to even get an R rating and make it to the theater. So they cut out a lot of the good stuff. And this is what we got, which I feel aids into why it's so underrated. I still dig it though. Pretty decent practical effects, man. Viggo Mortensen shines in here as a charismatic menace. I think he's a cousin of Leatherface's sadistic family. This is usually a hard to find one, but it's now streaming on Peacock in time for the spooky season. So check it out.
Oh! I like Texas.
Next up, Dolly Dearest, a 1991 supernatural horror directed by Maria Leese, starring Sam Bottoms, Denise Crosby, and Candace Hudson. An American businessman takes ownership of a doll manufacturing company in Mexico. Then strange things start happening to his family, most notably his young daughter. So this is Chucky's little ugly cousin laying the murder game down. I remember renting this one on VHS back in the day when toys and dolls were a big thing in horror movies. And here we have an ancient Mayan curse animating the doll, then causing evil chaos. It's a pretty dark and creepy movie for early 90s horror, utilizing low-angle doll POV shots, cable rig, puppetry, and decent practical effects to deliver the scares. Underneath the killer toy trope lies a theme of parental instincts kicking in for the mother, showing protectiveness of her daughter from this demonic doll. I feel like Dolly Dearest is so underrated, and a lot of folks missed this one because it was overshadowed by Child's Play's success and Chucky's fame. I spent tons of time in video stores finding these kind of gems though during my childhood. I even have the DVD in my collection right now. It's a rare find because I've never seen it stream on Tubi, but if you want to check it out, there are a few copies on YouTube right now.
Play with this, bitch.
Next, Devil's Advocate, a 1997 horror movie directed by Taylor Hackford, starring Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino. A hotshot young attorney's life takes a hellish turn after he accepts an irresistible offer to join a New York law firm run by a ruthless power broker. Another underrated gem and one of my favorites from the late 90s, with 2 top-tier actors giving top-notch performances in a horror tale wrapped in a legal thriller, dissecting ambition and moral compromises, all while showing how temptation and power corrupt free will. Keanu Reeves anchors the moral conflict, being a top lawyer with some religious background from a small part of Florida, now being wooed by Al Pacino's charismatic depiction of Satan. And I tell you, Pacino kills it in here, stealing the spotlight in every scene. And Charlize Theron does great as well. Damn, they did her dirty in here. Basically, it's collateral damage to his dark rise to power. It also comes with a little plot twist hidden through the movie. It was marketed as a supernatural thriller, so few people really recognized the horror elements in it, so that's why I think it fell under the radar. But Devil's Advocate isn't streaming anywhere free right now. Rent or buy it on Amazon Prime and Fandango.
It's my time now.
The Devil's Advocate.
Now, let me tell you, sometimes they come back. A 1991 supernatural thriller directed by Tom McLaughlin, starring Tim Matheson, Brooke Adams, and Robert Russell. A group of teenage bullies from hell mark a school teacher and his family as targets for destruction. This is one of Stephen King's made-for-TV horror films based on his short story of the same name. Definitely an underrated horror classic showing how sinister high school bullies could be, blending a ghost story with a revenge thriller. Tim Matheson plays a school teacher haunted by childhood trauma, returning to his hometown only to be terrorized by these undead bullies who murdered his brother when they were kids. But now they're popping up, taking over his classroom after each student they killed. The crew of bullies kind of reminds us of the Greasers from the Outsiders movie, but it's something about the aesthetic that helps them deliver an evil, menacing tone, plus decent practical makeup for their demon appearance. Not a lot of blood and gore, so I can tell you my son seen this one and loved it. Didn't think it was too scary. We watched the second one also, and he thought those bullies were not as intimidating. It's a made-for-TV flick from the VHS age that's rarely been screened on TV since its release. If you want to revisit this one or check it out for the first time, Sometimes They Come Back is available for free on Tubi, as well as both sequels, so go ahead and make it a marathon. Next up, Dr. Giggles, a 1992 horror movie directed by Manny Coto, starring Larry Drake and Holly Marie Combs. A madman who believes he's a doctor comes to the town where his mass murderer father was killed to start a spree of his own. This movie's based on a comic book series. I never checked any of them out, so just might have to see how hard those are to find. But I can see how it comes from a comic because it is a bit over the top. Has a nice mix of slasher horror with dark humor and catchy one-liners. You know, semi-corny but fitting for this kind of early 90s movie. We get an escaped mental patient called Dr. Giggles because he's giggling damn near non-stop. So self-explanatory, right? But he's no real doctor. He's just trying to carry on his dad's crazy work, and he's targeted a teenage girl needing a heart transplant. So in his mind, he's doing all the damage in order to help her. We get some creative kills and practical gore in here using oversized medical equipment in outrageous fashion, and some of the goofiness of the film led to it being mismarketed as straight horror. So if you need to revisit this classic or even haven't seen it before, catch Dr. Giggles streaming on Shudder or for free on Tubi.
Jennifer, it's time to take your medicine.
Try some of your own medicine.
Next, People Under the Stairs, a 1991 horror film directed by Wes Craven starring Brandon Adams, Everett McGill, and Ving Rhames. Follows a young boy and two adult robbers who become trapped in the neighborhood landlord's house after breaking in to steal a collection of gold coins. No doubt another cult classic from the mind of late, great Wes Craven. That is labeled as a horror comedy, and I guess you can call it that because there's some things in here that are funny but not intentionally. Just satirical trash talk about the wealthy, gentrification, and living conditions in the ghetto, which leads our young character Fool into being persuaded to help out with the home invasion for a quick score while the family's facing eviction. Then while in the landlord's house, they find a lot of zombie-like teenagers in the basement, and one of them crawling through the walls working with the daughter. Good acting from the whole cast. The landlords are pure evil, with the dad running around the house in a leather dominatrix suit with a shotgun. Not a lot of gore, but some decent practical makeup for the basement dwellers. This one feels buried and forgotten, and I heard rumblings of Jordan Peele in the works to remake it, but it's been rumored, even though I'd like to see it redone. People Under the Stairs usually make its rounds on Tubi, and I'm sure it'll return in time for Halloween, but for now it's available to rent on or purchase on Amazon Prime.
Either put the gun down now or kiss your ass goodbye, boy.
Next, Needful Things, a 1993 horror film directed by Fraser C. Heston, starring Ed Harris, Bonnie Bedelia, and Max Van Sydow. Follows a mysterious antique store owner who sells items of people's deepest desires that cause chaos and violence in the small town of Castle Rock. Definitely Another underrated gem. This one's based on Stephen King's novel of the same name and playing on temptation and greed corrupting the bonds of the Castle Rock community. Man, I tell you, Stephen King sure knows how to portray Maine as some cursed land or an evil place with a lot of supernatural elements going on that you sure don't ever want to visit. Max von Sydow delivers as an unsettling, calm, devilish figure with an evil agenda, selling the townspeople exactly what they desire, but at a deadly cost of their darkest secrets, turning neighbor against neighbor, then all hell breaks loose. Ed Harris offers some hope as the local sheriff, a grounded, rational person not falling for any of his tricks. A few brutal and bloody scenes, nothing too crazy, good practical effects and cinematography to capture the doom and gloom awaiting the community. If you're a fan of Stephen King's work, Needful Things is a great old school film to watch. Unfortunately, it's another that sometimes streams on Tubi but isn't available at the time, so you'll have to rent or purchase it on Amazon Prime or Fandango. But I'm sure it'll be loaded up soon.
Where's it going? I killed my wife. Is that wrong? Hey, these things happen.
Finally, The Relic, a 1997 horror film directed by Peter Hyams, starring Penelope Ann Miller and Tom Sizemore. A detective and a biologist battle a South American lizard-like monster on a killing spree in a Chicago museum. This is a good, underrated creature feature type of horror film. We get an Amazonian-born parasitic creature wreaking havoc in a Chicago museum, taking out the staff and the guests at their major black tie gala event, kind of making the museum feel like a giant maze concealing the terror around every corner. It's crazy because murders happening and bodies turning up ripped to shreds, but the big wigs of the museum just never mind all the caution and warnings given from the detectives just so they can show off the new exhibits, then still run into a massacre once the creature reveals itself and starts taking heads off. Good performances from Penelope Ann Miller and the late Tom Sizemore, great practical effects for the monster design. This is one of the last 90s flicks to rely on practical effects before movies were hit with that heavy CGI era. Check it out for yourself. Paramount Plus has The Relic streaming now just in time for spooky season.
Come Monday morning, everything will get straightened out. And whatever prankster created this miasma, I swear to God, when I get my hands on him.
Thanks for joining this Scary Hours deep dive into 8 underrated 90s horror movies to check out this October. These 8 films show that the 90s horror vault runs deeper than just franchise juggernauts. Next time you're in the mood for a scare, consider revisiting one of these underrated classics. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button and subscribe for more explorations into the hidden corners of horror cinema. Also, drop a comment below. Which of these underrated gems have you already seen? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Or if there's any movies or new releases you recommend, let me know and I'll get right back to you. Also, don't leave without sharing this video, liking and subscribing to the channel for more scares to come. And until the next time, stay haunted and keep those nightmares alive. Y'all be safe out there.